What's up? How's everybody doing? This video here is a response to Dr. Craig. That's what I'm gonna start calling you, man. Dr. Craig, full of knowledge, too much knowledge. Slow down so that I can absorb it. Okay, slow down and talk slow. I don't get things right away. Anyway, we've had a little bit of a debate on MI40 Nation, MI40 Ambassadors, his Superhero Maker webpage. Craig shot a pretty awesome video in response to a question that I had given him on Friday that is about one of my favorite topics, and it's just peri-workout nutrition. Because it's just always evolving, it's always changing, and it's different with every person. So I want to read to you what I wrote to him, and then I kind of want to go through what he responded. Okay, I made notes even so I wouldn't get it wrong, Craig. Okay, so anyway, my question was pretty much a question for debate that really only spoke about pre-workout nutrition, but Craig dove into everything pre, intra, and post for me, and it was pretty much the idea of adding in carbohydrates somewhere between 15 and 25 grams as recommended by a few sources, and if you want to take the Ben or Kefir approach, keeping carbs out before your workout. And two different points of view that both work for extreme athletes. The idea of giving carbs pre-workout is to create a slow or quick insulin spike, and the idea of not using carbs is to not limit the release of growth factors, especially growth hormone, which in the long run for somebody beginning, in my opinion, can really inhibit damage on joints and ligaments and so on and so forth, because growth hormone is very important on that, especially if you're going to put on some lean mass in a hurry. Anyway, Craig answered the question very, very thoroughly, so I just wanted to kind of bring up some points, and I got them written down here. He spoke very well about hypertrophy. He and I are both in agreement about how it's on a case-by-case basis. It really depends on your body type, and I really can't stress that enough. That's the cool thing about physique training and bodybuilding and so on and so forth, is that everybody's going to be different because we have a predisposition to put on muscle in different areas, in different ways, in different rates, and in different waves, okay? Because remember, hypertrophy is not a linear line, it is cyclical, okay? It's in a wave, like a parabola. So it very much so depends on body type and how long you've been on a regimented diet or plan, in my opinion. And Craig kind of spoke about that as well in a roundabout way. If you're looking for strictly hypertrophy, which was what my question was for, it's for the bodybuilder crowd, looking to gain as much muscle as possible, lean tissue while not putting on a bunch of fat, it's best to have carbs before, during, and after your workout sometime. But it's not always optimal, okay? Let me repeat that. It is not always optimal. It may be best for some short stints of time, but it's not always the best long term, so keep that in mind. Personally, Craig had said that he had tried carbs well before the workout and about an hour before, and they made him feel crappy, especially with the addition of his nootropics. They didn't help at all. It actually made him feel even more cloudy. And he pretty much mentioned how throughout his day, his overall total is a pretty low carb amount. I think somewhere between 150 to 200 grams on average. And he functions best on that, which is pretty cool. I would imagine his fat level is pretty high through the day, especially how he spoke about having somewhere between 30 and 40 grams of fat within just his first two meals for optimal brain function and metabolic flexibility and so on and so forth. So Craig shot the video. If you haven't seen it, go to MI40 Nation, okay, and check it out. In response to the video, we had Mr. Walker, Cass. He came out and he asked me, how does my pre, intra, and post carbs differ? Have I tried the way that Craig has done his, and have I noticed any improvements? You know, there's more than one way to skin a cat, so let's hear how you do it. Okay, first part, how do my pre, intra, and post carbs differ? They differ a lot. And it's all regimented around my training. Right now, I'm on my 6th week of training 6 times a week, and the volume has been increasing with each week. And then next week I back off the volume and the frequency, and I go down to 4 days with less volume, or I'll almost do a super compensation. So my peri-workout cycle is very dependent on how my training is going. So what I have been doing as of lately is no carbs before my workout, just about 40 grams of an isolate protein or a beef protein with some coconut oil or MCT oil, and a little bit of slower digesting fat, such as almond butter is usually my preference. And that is because your protein is still going to create that insulin spike. So I'm just trying to slow down the absorption rate of the protein from the small intestine, so I don't get such a quick spike yet. It makes me drowsy, and that's what I've have gotten in the past with any kind of carbohydrates, whether it be 10 grams or 30 grams or 50 grams. 2 hours before, I just get such an insulin spike that I get really tired, really drowsy, and it just doesn't benefit me. It just wipes me out. So I put no carbs pre-workout. And then about 5 minutes before I actually start my first working set, so while I'm going through my dynamic movements, maybe the warm-ups of my excitatory exercises, I am starting to sip on my intra-workout carb drink. The intra-workout carb drink contains, depending on the workout, somewhere between 75 to 150 to 160 carbs, and that is going to be dependent on how intense the workout's going to be and how long. Sometimes in some workouts, even when maybe I plan on only using about, or only taking about 100 grams of carbs in that particular workout, if I feel really good and I start doing some extra work, I will go back and get 25 to 30 to 40 grams more to make sure that I am continuing to take carbs throughout the time when my workout's most intense and leading up to the end of the workout. So I mix that in about 2 liters of water, 1.5 to 2 liters, and I have it finished by the time I finish my workout. After my workout, I wait about 60 to 90 minutes before I take any more carbs. And it's always in the form of something that's going to have a fast absorption rate and is going to give me another window of insulin spike. So my go-to right now in my off season, since I'm not in any kind of preparatory mode, is some kind of gluten-free cereal or gluten-free waffles with maple syrup. It's usually my go-tos. If I'm going to change it up, I'll change it up to something slower digesting, just so it sets on me a little heavier and I don't digest it so fast and get hungry. But that's pretty much what it's been. It's been that simple. There are other things in the workout that I've been taking. Craig talked about some other supplements. We have a lot of similarities with those. I take my brain functioning nootropics before my workout. Alpha GPC is like a gold mine for me right now. It just helps my mental focus so much. So I take it first thing in the morning and before my workout. I also take beta-alanine, arginine, citrulline, glycerol. I take about 80 milligrams of caffeine, just depending on the workout. But I try to give my adrenals a break sometimes with the supplementation. And then I take about 10 grams of BCAAs prior to the workout, and that's pretty much my pre-workout stack. The intra-workout stack is 20 grams, 10 to 20 grams more BCAAs depending on the workout. I take 5 grams of creatine monohydrate, just plain old monohydrate, nothing special. I take 15 grams of glutamine, and I also mix in my bread and butter, which I did pull from John Meadows, is I use my carb source is highly branched chain cyclic dextrin. It's my favorite carb source I like to use. I know Ben likes to speak about using Vitargo. I find this works a little bit better for me. And in addition, I use hydrolyzed casein, and I get that from True Nutrition. And I like that because that, along with the combination of carbohydrates, helps not only to create the anabolic effect, but to inhibit the catabolic effect that comes with heavy weight training. So that has really helped me with my soreness and recovery, especially right now when I know I'm going into a hard training session the next day, or for the next 2 or 3 days before I get into a smaller group like arms or shoulders or something like that. My post-workout, about 30 minutes post-workout, I'll take in about 40 grams of some hydrolyzed iso or beef or liquid egg whites of some sort. And I will include most of my antioxidant supplements then. So you're talking about CoQ10 and, magnesium, vitamin C, chromium to bring down cortisol levels, and there's a few more. But the main idea is to just start to flush toxins out. But I don't like to rush those supplements too fast because I'm still trying to get a little bit of the inflammatory effect that happens when you weight train, okay? Because that also stimulates the idea of muscle building, of hypertrophy, of anabolism. So if you inhibit that too quickly, you may be inhibiting your window for hypertrophy, if that makes sense. So then that's about 30 minutes post-workout, and then within the next 30 to 40 minutes, maybe 50 minutes, somewhere in that 90-minute window after my workout, I'm starting to take in the carbs. And that's pretty much my peri-workout cycle, and it always is changing, okay? So as I get closer to prep or my volume, my workout comes down, my carbs are going to change drastically. If something's not working, I'm going to adjust it, okay? Which kind of brings me to my final point of the whole peri-workout deal is for all you guys trying to figure out what works best for you, you need to keep a journal, okay? That's what was the best thing for me on a day-to-day basis. Start at the bare minimum and document, you know, the main points of how you felt before your workout, the pump you got during your workout, you know, how long did it last, how was your intensity, how was your mental focus, you know, how well did you recover, were you full, did you feel dehydrated, did you get a headache, you know, put down anything and everything that you felt, and then after the workout, you know, speak about how you feel. Did you feel sleepy after you took the carbs in? Did you recover well after the workout for the next workout the next day? So any and everything that you can document, do it, and then try to figure out a way to counterbalance the adverse effects that happen with the workout. And that all comes through the knowledge of your supplementation and tuning in to people that maybe know more than you, guys like Craig. They have a very vast knowledge of supplementation and balancing the body out, especially with mental focus and things of that nature. Okay, let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Cass talked about if I noticed any improvements, if I have tried Craig's way. Craig and I have very different body types. I have tried something similar to Craig. It was a long time ago, but I tell you what, I couldn't recover, and I didn't grow, and I stayed lean, but I was weak as heck, and my workouts were not very good, and I actually went through a mental struggle, and come to find out it was just my peri-workout cycle was just really off. So my body responds very, very well to carbohydrates throughout my day. By the end of the day, if I'm on a heavy training day, it's not surprising if I take in at least 400 grams of carbohydrate minimum, okay? And on a day where I feel pretty sore and beat up, I'll throw in a cheat meal right now, or a refeed meal 1 to 3 times a week, and that'll put me in excess of 500 to 600 grams sometimes. With my fats being very high right now, and my protein just being moderate, it stays pretty much the same all year round. So that's kind of what works for me. But again, I have kind of an ectomorphic natural build. So when I pull my carbs away, my fullness goes right out the door, and my energy goes right out the door as well. So make sure that you're catering your diet for your body's needs, and it's going to always be changing as you start to put on more muscle, because what's called your set point is going to constantly raise, which means like the the point at which your body feels homeostatic, it feels normal. It's going to have different demands as it changes its set point. So realize that your diet needs to be constantly evolving on, as frequently as a month-to-month basis, depending on how your training is evolving. Okay, so I hope that helped out. That's a little insight into what I did. Hopefully, Craig and I can continue to do some debating. I think this is a pretty cool deal. I'd actually like to get. He spoke about in one of his last videos about cardio briefly, and I kind of want to get his input on his opinion for steady state and his opinion for high intensity training for maintaining as much muscle mass as possible without sacrificing it when you may be on a diet that is just baseline, not a depletion diet, but just baseline to maintain when you're in a point where you're trying to lean up as much as possible. So maybe that's a topic for the future. What do you think, Craig? Okay, guys, thanks. Later.